I bought something kind of ridiculous. And if you enjoy brightly colored e-waste, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. This is a Google search appliance, and starting in 2002, this was a real thing that you could buy. It's basically a mini self-contained instance of Google. The idea was that you would buy this thing, plug it into your corporate network, and it would crawl the whole thing, indexing all of your documents and files, making them all easily searchable, just like Big Google does to the whole internet. Fancy. This one is a 2009 model, the final version, and beneath its subtle branding lies a pretty stock Dell PowerEdge 710 server, dual Xeons, some amount of RAM, and 6 bays for SATA hard drives. I picked this one up at the most recent VCF East swap meet. There were actually 2 of them for sale, and yeah, all 50 pounds of this bright yellow monstrosity followed me home. Now, I think this thing still has the Google firmware on it, though oftentimes these things were flashed back to the Dell 710 firmware later on in their service life. So today, I think we'll open this thing up, see what's inside of it, we'll power it on, see if it's still googly inside, and then let's install a suitably yellow operating system on it. Haiku! It's so heavy. My God. Right after this quick word about today's sponsor, Delete Me. Today's internet is a weird place. Everything you do and say online is analyzed, cataloged, chopped up, and sold on the open market of data brokers. And it's not just shady advertisers buying this data. Your private info can wind up in the hands of scammers, fraudsters, phishing schemes, and worse. Oh look, another political text. This is exactly the kind of thing that Delete Me can help to address. I've been using Delete Me for well over a year now, and they help me control my personal information in ways that I was never able to accomplish manually. They constantly scour the internet for my info and report back to me exactly which data brokers and websites have it. And then, well, they delete me. Just look at my listings removed over time. A big spike at the beginning where they removed the huge amount of data that was just floating out there on me, and then a consistent removal of all the data that keeps popping back up. Get 20% off Delete Me consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/actionretro and use promo code actionretro at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/actionretro, promo code actionretro. And now, let's open this thing up. Now, I'm no Jeff Geerling, and I have basically no experience with rack-mounted hardware like this, so I'm just gonna wing it and try to take this thing apart. Underneath this fanciful Google front, I do see some drive bays, a latch over here, I think. And up front here, we have a little display panel of some sort, 6 drive bays, and Dell Constellation ES, 1 terabyte. I just remembered the seller included this worksheet with all the drives and their health. We have caution, good, caution, caution, good, caution. Perfect. Oh yeah, look here, 48 gigabytes of memory. And we have 2 E5520 Xeon processors at 2.26 gigahertz. All right, I assume this very conspicuous latch will open up the top of the case. Get off of there, Google. Oh, look at all this stuff in here. We've got a bank of what I assume are extremely loud fans. Here's the front panel with an inward-facing USB port. This says DVD removal, but it's empty. Well, you can figure out something to hide in there. Yeah, can you tell I've never had one of these before? The whole middle bit come out? It does, look at that. All right. Just a plastic cover. Ooh, look at all these RAMs, our 2 Xeon CPUs. All right, the heat sinks weren't totally connected. You've got redundant power supplies here, and I bet these power supplies just slide right out. They do! Haha, neat. Holy cannoli, these are 870 watts. That's a lot of Googling. Well, I guess it's probably smart to put all the fans back in. Well, I'm sure these are going to be obnoxiously loud. I don't know if we really need all these fans if we're just doing stupid stuff with this thing. Let's see what it's like. All right, in the interest of keeping things as comically janky as possible, I have a Sun 20.1-inch LCD monitor hooked up to VGA, a PlayStation 2 USB keyboard. Let's power this thing on. Ooh, it's spinning. Oh my God. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, I guess this thing was flashed back to the Dell firmware. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure it would say Google here. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna boot into anything. Whatever was on here before, long gone. Now, since this thing isn't running full tilt 24/7 in a rack somewhere, I think we can calm down with these fans. I'm just gonna stick these two USB fans in there, plug them into this inward facing port. Nothing janky about this at all. Yeah, much better. The front panel is now yelling at me to check the fans, but we're going to ignore that and plug in this Haiku installer USB. We will press F11, BIOS boot manager, front USB disk, that's our Haiku. Come on, you can do it. Yes, it's booting Haiku. Now this is actually really unresponsive on here, which is highly unusual for Haiku. About this system showing our 16 cores and 48 gigs of RAM. I wonder what drive setup thinks of all of these hard drives. I don't think it sees them. Yeah, disk probe only sees the USB drive. I wonder if I can just chuck an M.2 into a PCI slot and install to that. Not janky at all. You can live right here. Perfect. Okay, well, I have no idea why it decided to boot into whatever this is. All right. Sure, configuration wizard. RAID configuration. Guess we'll do RAID 6. Hot spare disk. Okay. There are hot spare disks in your area, dying to meet you. Maybe Haiku can see this after we've configured it. Well, Haiku does see the SSD, but it does not see the RAID. So I guess we're not installing to the RAID. It's weird that the menus are laggy, but everything else works fine. Anyway, let's create a new partition here. We'll call this Googly. Maybe things will improve once we install. Okay, I'm just poking around in BIOS to see if I can find something like legacy boot support or legacy BIOS support. Yeah, boot mode says BIOS, which should be what we need. Well, unfortunately, the BIOS boot manager does not see that SSD. All right, well, I tried to boot Haiku in UEFI mode, and that also does not seem to work. So on to plan B. Escape to refresh. All right, there it is. Front USB stick. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Ubuntu 25.04 has no qualms installing directly to the RAID. That is exactly what we're going to do. Oh yeah, check that out. We are booting Ubuntu from the RAID, and something about that just seems so freaking hilarious to me. We're using this decommissioned Google server as if it was a desktop computer. I mean, 6 1 terabyte 7200 RPM hard drives back when this thing was new. That was impressive. And here we are just using them like they're any old random hard drive. Obligatory NeoFetch screenshot showing all of our 48 gigs of RAM and our 16 Xeon E5520s. Yeah, look at all those CPUs go in HTOP. Awesome. So I really can't blame Haiku for not running well on this thing. Haiku was really designed for older consumer hardware, so a deprecated Google server is not really the ideal scenario. But that's okay, because installing Ubuntu on this thing was always my end goal. I think the absolute funniest use for this monstrosity would be to try to use it as if it were a desktop computer, and perhaps try to turn it into the world's weirdest gaming PC. 16 cores, 48 gigs of RAM, all it needs is a video card. But we'll save that for the next video. If you enjoyed this one, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more shenanigans like this, please subscribe down below, and thank you very much for watching. And thanks again to Delete Me for sponsoring today's video. And I just want to give a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and channel members. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for supporting me and supporting this channel and all the weird stuff I do. I am so very grateful, and I just could not do this without you.